Hello and welcome to another Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into anything, we got a Patreon over there at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. Oh man, I was just out there reading the paper and I saw an ad for our Patreon in the paper, and I was just so excited to
Wow.
see it. And they said,
What
you know,
paper?
just the Daily Gazette. And
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love that one.
yeah, just I get it in my paper. That's the only ad that was in there, but it's just it was a picture of our Patreon. It said if you go there, you can hear some fun conversations, reviews, games, all types of stuff. So when you pick up your local paper, it'll tell you to go over to patreon.com/Drum Double Feature for only $5 a month. You'll get extra content, but it doesn't affect any regular content. And then after you get that ad, unsubscribe from the paper. We don't support their viewpoints. But anyway,
Yeah. No, I agree.
but anyway, today we're going to be talking about 2006 DOA Dead or Alive, which is
Yes.
directed by Corey Yuen. Now, as I said on the preview for this episode, this is based off of the video game Dead or Alive. I know both of us were actually huge fans of the video game Dead or Alive.
Hmm.
Like Dead or Alive 3 is one of the games that actually got me interested in actually buying the original Xbox, because one interesting things, just because of the visuals, the controls, and each person had their own different ending
Hmm.
in the game too. So if you beat the game with each player, they had a different ending to it, and they also had like unique lines that they would say to like some of the other people, like if their storylines intersected.
Yeah,
So
I always love that. Like I think there's one where somebody's reading a paper and I think they walk by like other characters and they like look over the newspaper. So we're bringing the
yeah,
paper back. That's what I'm saying.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we're big fans of print media here, but
Yes, of course. Obviously.
but no. So big fan of the series, and the other thing too, this game series is known for is volleyball, because there also is a spin-off series called DOA Extreme where they do play volleyball in skimpy outfits. So,
Oh, the skimpy outfits are important to that game?
well, yeah, that's plot driven. It's bikinis, so I don't want to hear
Oh,
any. I don't want to hear
okay.
any fan service. It's all plot.
It is plot. Yes, I agree. No, but no, I'm in the same boat. I love Dead or Alive 3. 4, I played a lot. Never played the volleyball ones, but no, they're just like really solid fighters. And for like 2001, that game looks incredible. And it still is a very good looking game. So no, they're just it's a fun series.
Yeah, and like each fighter has their own just distinct different fighting style in there.
Hmm.
So they each one has like a different feel to it.
Hmm.
So it kind of blew my mind at one point when I was at Blockbuster one day, and this was when I was in high school. I was just there renting a movie, and I actually saw that they had DOA, like Dead or Alive, right there, and I was just like they made a movie off of this one, like a fighting game I like, got to pick this one up. So picked it up and watched it back then. And you know what? I got to say this, that at the plot to the movie is pretty much the same, sort of, kind of, with the
Hmm.
video game. It's the whole plot is that there's a big giant tournament going on right now, and everybody that's a master of their own fighting style has been invited, and they are there, and whoever wins gets the grand prize of $10 million.
Whoa. Crazy.
And
And Eric Roberts is there.
right, I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
that's one thing you want to have in a movie is Eric Roberts.
Well, then you got plenty to choose from.
Yeah, yeah, your options are very long.
Yes,
Um,
but
but
not great.
uh, well, unless it's Runaway Train. But anyway,
Of course, of course.
but anyway, it so like when I wanted, I genuinely just forgot about it. I remember it not being too great back then, and
Mhm.
I was just like, okay, that was just a whatever thing. And So I kind of forgot about it for the most part. But Nathan and I recently had been talking about Dead or Alive
Hmm.
together, and I was just, it brought back a lot of those memories, and I was like, wait a minute, they made a movie off that game. And I was just like, I just looked on Tubi, like, let me just take a look here, and sure enough, it was right there on Tubi. I was like,
Of course it
perfect.
was.
So Tubi always delivers clutch at the last minute. So
It really does. Like I've looked up so many movies and just like, oh, there it is. But
yeah,
no, it's wild that you found this one. I actually remember this one coming out, which is a little weird. I never watched it, never saw it. But this was like during like, I mean, it's still this way, but there was like a renaissance for crap video game movies. It's usually Uwe Boll, who everyone makes fun of. He made
yeah.
Alone in the Dark, Postal,
House of the Dead.
House of the Dead, all of those like video game movies. And I always thought this was an Uwe movie, but it's not. It's actually an established director. Long made a bunch of martial arts movies, which I was
Yeah,
surprised by. So I guess I knew going in because this movie has a really awful reputation, but I was a little like I was definitely interested in it.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, I just thought it'd be pretty interesting to talk about again, since at least we both are fans of the game. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, like even if the movie's awful, like we could still have a pretty good time talking about it.
Yeah.
Um, Now this one, I mean, it's like I said earlier, this is about as accurate to the plot kind of as the video game. They do have a bunch of different fighters there,
Mhm. They're all
but it,
dressed like the characters from the game too, which is
yeah,
kind of crazy.
I mean, they do try. I mean, like
Yeah.
whether you want to say like they're 100% accurate to their characters or not,
Hmm.
um, they at least go for the visual of the character. Like
Yeah, they
there's
do.
there's the one guy, uh, Genfu, and
Yeah.
which he's barely in the movie, but you do see him in one fight scene where he beats up Hitomi, and
Yeah.
and but he still has like the same crazy outfit and hairstyle and beard that he does in the video game. So it's not like they're like, oh yeah, this one random old guy is Genfu or whatever.
Yeah, that scene because there's that airplane scene with all the characters in it. And I was like, it is interesting how background characters are like perfect. Like Bayman he's wearing his like camo outfit and the red hat. I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. I don't know. There was some really fun stuff going on with that, and I mean, it's obvious that whoever made this, I mean, they at least cared. And I mean, Paul W.S. Anderson, I was not surprised to see that name in the credits pop up.
No, I mean, and he's probably like the worst example of like keeping things faithful to like the
That's
video game.
true. Yeah.
So
What do you mean? My favorite game character from Resident Evil is Alice.
yeah, all those Alice video games.
Yes.
Uh, but no, I can at least say that because I mean I've seen so many video game movies where you're just like, I don't like, this is not
Yeah.
even the same thing at all. And this one, like, they at least, like, the main characters, like at least the ones you want to see most are front and center, and they are given big parts. And I mean, kind of like the thing about this one is that like the women are probably like the biggest stars of the movie. So like, the first you have Tina, who's a pro wrestler played by Jamie Presley. Um, and her opening, like they do like the big character introduction scene for like each character, and
Hmm.
there was a notable face in that scene. I just wanted to see if you recognize them, but the she's like laying on her yacht or whatever, and then these
Yeah.
pirates come and invade her. But did you notice who the head pirate was?
No, I did not.
That was Liu Kang from the first Mortal
Oh
Kombat
my
movie.
God. And is that a cameo or did his star really fall that far?
Oh, that was like 10 years after the fact, so I'm gonna say probably that. So
Dang.
but I was like that. I said, I think that's Liu Kang, and I had to look it up, and I'm like, sure enough, it was.
That's funny.
Which Mortal Kombat's like one of my favorite video game movies. So
Yeah, that one's actually a lot of fun. It's crazy that I mean, that they go for like fighting game movies. That's like that was a very common thing. It's like, oh, it's a fighting game, make that a movie.
Yeah, I mean, there has been some bad fighting game movies, but I think they're probably like the easiest to make into a movie because it's like, okay, there's a big tournament and there's a big bad guy at the end,
Yep.
and then just show some fight scenes in
There's
between.
action. Exactly. It's easy. And now
So
now we just have women as the stars instead, because like you said, Dead or Alive is all about the ladies.
yeah, this one's for the ladies, guys. Take a step back.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, that's what's nice is this movie doesn't objectify women in any any way,
No,
shape, or form.
no, there's no women through the eyes of the male gaze at all. This is
No, no.
these are completely strong, independent women that love to wear skimpy outfits. So
Yeah, yeah, and fight
deal
in
deal with it.
cows. Yeah, deal with it. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah,
Oh,
no, it obviously, the game is very fan servicey. So this movie is also very fan servicey. Like it's a bunch of women wearing skimpy outfits and doing sexy things, but they are doing a lot of fighting when they do it. So
yes, they do actually fight, and they're strong. I will say that, especially one character we brought up already, Tina, played by Jamie Presley. I guess she went through training in order to play this role, like tons of training, and I think the other two stars of the movie did as well.
yeah, I mean the other two are Kasumi, played by Devon Aoki,
Hmm.
and that's kind of like the main plot of the movie is
Hmm.
she. So I guess if we do have a main character, it would be her because the whole plot is that her brother has gone missing and they haven't seen her for days. But then, um, her I guess friend slash potential love interest played by which is a Hayabusa, which is from the Ninja
Yeah,
Gaiden
the
games.
Hayabusa's in this.
Yeah,
Ryu Hayabusa.
yeah, played by Kane Kasugi. So uh, there, he's telling her like you can't leave this clan because she's going to basically have to abandon her clan in order to
Hmm.
attend this tournament. And Hayabusa is telling her not to do it. And Ayane, who's also another character who is her
Purple
brother's,
haired.
yeah, and who is not Asian at all, but played by a white woman.
I don't know why they did that because they kept all the other characters Asian.
Yeah, so I that one was a little. I was like, okay, like I'm not sure about that, but
Mhm.
whatever. And uh, how this movie starts, like just to let you know how ridiculous it's going to be, is it's like this very serious scene where like they're talking about they got to find my brother. You can't abandon this clan. You're going to be ousted, and you should beg for forgiveness. And then immediately after, you find out like this clan is like basically like in this giant like castle in the sky type of thing, and then she just jumps out and like with the parachute and then she catches a ninja star that's been thrown like from out of nowhere, and it's just
Yep.
like a dead or alive tournament, and it's like okay,
You've been
right away.
invited.
Yeah, so right away what this movie is.
Yeah. I hate to comment on the acting in this movie. I'm sorry, but
But it's great.
it's great. No, Kasumi here, Devin Aoki. Oh my God. She is so bad in this movie.
No, yeah, it's this movie is not known for its acting,
No,
and
of course not. But here's the thing. I do think there's characters that are at least likable, which I think is good eh, because I mean some characters really do I think they work like for like a cheesy kind of B movie like this.
yeah, I get it, like because this movie, there is that the serious plot of like the missing brother, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of jokes and a lot of like tongue-in-cheek moments in this movie, so it's definitely not
Mhm.
taking itself very seriously, which I think is better. Like it's better that you do it that way than like because I couldn't imagine this one being like, oh my god, this is a super serious movie, like kind of like how they did with remember that Chun Li movie or
Yeah,
whatever
I
they
never
did.
saw that one.
I never, but like I'm pretty sure like they played that one completely straight or whatever. And
Yeah, and I just don't think that works. So you got to really play into the silly side and
I,
like unless you can do it really well. But I
But I
don't
mean,
think
how serious could he be when it's like, okay, well, so like these women are going to be in bikinis playing volleyball, and it's
exactly.
like,
Yeah, I couldn't imagine if there was a volleyball scene and it was like dead serious in the middle of this
yeah,
movie. Um,
exactly.
but no, that's what it is. It's these ladies. Well, we get introduced to our three main characters. We get Tina Armstrong, who has pirates come on and she kicks all of them. Oh, and between these scenes in the beginning, we see a giant text of dead or alive DOA, and it comes up on the screen and it goes away. I hope you don't get tired of that because this movie uses that transition all the time. It loves like the big name of the movie transition. It's so odd.
Well, I like being reminded of which movie I'm watching while I'm
Yeah,
watching it.
me too. Did you forget as well what you were watching?
I could have used that for the movie on Tuesday, maybe. I mean, that would have helped.
Oh yeah, I
Like
know.
like a giant ant, like a
Phase
giant
4.
giant ant transition.
I would be into that actually.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, like we get introduced to like the two other characters, but the other one too we get introduced to is Christy, who is a British assassin, and she has all an equally ridiculous scene where she's like beating up these guys naked and like she were topless, and like she
Mhm.
throws like a bra in the air, and then like she catches the bra like with her arms like and has it hooked around her. Like
Yes.
it's very silly. And of course too, everyone's favorite fighter also is in this scene, which is Max. Don't you remember playing Max in all the Dead or Alive games?
Yeah, I love Max. Yes,
So yeah, that's this movie does create a movie original character named
of course.
Max,
Yes.
and he doesn't. I think he has one fight scene, and it's like a really goofy, dumb scene. But
Yeah, I don't know how that works because like okay, he did beat a guy, but then later on they show like the tournament standings and he's not in the final four, but we never see
well,
him lose.
no, he says it like when
Oh,
he's
he
talking
just
to
says
Chris.
he loses.
Well, because he was fighting Zach, and he said, "Oh,
Mhm.
I wanted to get out." Because the whole point of like Max and Christie's whole plot is that they want to steal the money from the
Yes.
tournament, and they and Max had said that like to get out of the tournament, he said he feigned an injury, and then he just was taking out the he just took himself out of the tournament.
Wow, that really flew over my head. I was just like,
Yeah,
okay, he's out of the tournament now.
yeah. So that's who he lost to was Zach. But and Zach,
Not Zach.
oh yeah, Zach is another character, which he's a really over the top character in the video game, and
Hmm.
he has green facial hair and a green mohawk, which
Hmm.
which makes him stand out very much. So
Yes, yeah, and the guy who's playing him is really hamming it up a lot.
yeah, which it's perfect in my mind. So
I agree. I agree.
uh,
It, oh, no, I was gonna say I think what I like most about this movie is kind of the hangout moments. I think it's funny that they capture that. Like it's like there's fights, but oh yeah, there's moments where we just hang out. Like Zach and Tina are just in the hot tub together, and there is a volleyball scene like those games. And I was like, that's really interesting that
yeah,
they
like
did
they're
that.
like okay, so there's the one scene where Tina is supposed to fight Zach, and
Hmm.
all the only thing they get is they get a little notification on their wrist saying like
Hmm.
time to fight and who's your fighter, and then like whenever
Hmm.
you get that notification, that's like the thing because kind of like in the video games you could fight anywhere. It's like anywhere could happen, and like you said during one of the hangout scenes, there's this big outdoor party with like a DJ and all they're playing, they're dancing and everything, and then Tina's like got the notice, and then she just kicks Zach. He's like, "Really? You want to kill everybody's vibe?" That was like major party foul. Like it was
I know, yeah. I thought that was fun. It was like a
like
funny little
like, hey, let's set up a time and a place for this. Let's not ruin a good time. All right, like
exactly. And then they do it. They did they do set up a different time and place to fight.
yeah,
Um what a scene too. And let me tell you, there's a lot of close-ups to butts and things like that. They make sure that that gets in there. So if you're into that, this movie's
right.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you like that, then play the volleyball game. But
No, exactly. Even though those are probably all expensive. I can only imagine.
one character who I was so like is Bass Armstrong, which is Tina's dad,
Hmm.
and immediately I recognized who that was because it's one of my favorite wrestlers, who's played by Kevin Nash,
Hell yeah.
and who you might remember. He was Super Shredder and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze.
Wow. Okay, so I've seen Kevin Nash before.
I think you've seen him. He was in John Wick and The Punisher. I
Oh,
mean,
okay, got you. I guess I don't recognize him instantly.
he was in The Longest Yard remake. I mean, he's
I've
been in a
seen
lot of
that.
stuff.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, but he's a very very big guy. Like he's legitimately almost 7 feet tall. So
Yeah.
he's a big dude. But I that was probably like these weird like interactions that he would have with his daughter, where
Hmm.
because he wants his daughter to be a like stay being a pro wrestler, but she wants to like, no, I don't want to be a pro wrestler. I want to be taken seriously as a real fighter. And
Hmm.
that got heat with me. I was like,
Oh yeah,
no,
yeah. That's right.
no.
Because like that's like the whole thing. She's like, everybody's like, "Oh, you're fake fighting, aren't you? This isn't real. Why are you even here?" But she gets to prove herself.
but there's like these she gets caught in these compromising positions with the other women, and her dad always walks in at like the wrong moments. It's like, whoa,
Yes.
like, oh, okay, like
Yeah, I didn't know this.
didn't realize you had a friend over. I'll come back at another time. I'm just
Yeah. See, if there was like two performances I could pick out of that movie, I thought he was funny, and I actually I like Jamie Presley quite a bit in this movie. I
I
thought she had like a good personality
uh,
going on.
uh, honestly, I mean, like, I really like her as an actress. Like,
Hmm.
I like when I was actually a big fan of the show My Name Is Earl,
Me too. Yeah.
and I she was one of the best parts of that show, and
Hmm.
so she really has a great personality for this type of stuff. I think
Hmm.
so. She was probably my favorite performance of the movie. The other big thing, though, I guess we got to mention is, like you said, Eric Roberts is in this movie, and his whole part is like he is able to steal the fighting powers, or like steal like the movements of the other characters, and
Yes.
like, he's able to implement those, and able to take over the world.
Oh, of
Of
course.
course.
Oh, I just said of course, and I didn't actually mean that. It's just like ingrained in my brain. But Eric Roberts, man, he is you know, uh, he's smiling the whole time. He does look like he's having a good time, but I don't think he cares one bit.
No, I mean, he's the biggest name in this
Yes.
movie, so I mean, he's like the big heavy guy, which is Donovan, everyone's favorite character, Donovan.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, of course.
and he's which is silly because like Eric Roberts, he's like easily like the oldest looking character in this movie, and he's like
Hmm.
doing like all these fight scenes in this movie too.
Yeah, and he has foresight and he can see exactly where they are. It's like Sherlock Holmes with where he's like, okay, yeah, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and then he can block all of those
Uh,
actions.
but the one thing he didn't have on his mind was that Helena, like the
Hmm.
millionaire girl, like the princess character girl, like the aristocratic one, is like, you didn't know my moves, do you? And he's like, seems I've underestimated you, young lady. And it's just,
Yeah, because I guess like her father worked with him, but he had her father killed, and they find that out.
yeah, totally unimportant. No, who
Yeah,
cares? But
Helena, if I remember right, is not like the character from the game. Not really.
no, I mean, she's like kind of like in the game, she's like I said, she's like comes from like a really well-to-do family,
Hmm.
and she's like wears like all this like like very formal attire, I believe. So, in this one,
Hmm.
she loves to have a good time.
Yeah, she
She's
blades.
she's like the mascot. Like, because remember, like when like they're coming into the tournament, she's
Hmm.
like doing the introduction, like, "Hey guys, like you had to come in for the tournament, jump out of the plane, and just."
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know why they made her the star. Well, the way I thought it was, I didn't realize till late in the movie. I thought she was Eric Roberts' daughter. I thought that's the way they were playing it, but I was like,
Emma
oh no,
Roberts.
Yeah, Emma, Julia Roberts. Yeah. Well, they're not
They're brother and sister.
their brother and sister. Yeah, that would be
Uh,
gross.
anyway, uh, Helena has like another like they have another like weird side plot character too, where it's like a big running gag, which is not funny at all, but they keep doing it over and over again. It's like, here's my here's my assistant Hornsby. It's Weatherby. No, it's just like
I hate that joke in movies. That joke is I hate movies where it's like, oh, we can't remember this character's name. That is like the worst joke, and so many movies do it.
well, yeah, and it's like nobody, and it's not a hard name to remember or anything. It's
Yeah,
like it's just Weatherby, and they nobody ever gets it right, and like and they do like the big gag where like Helena says like, "Oh, Weatherby," and he's like, "Oh, it's Weatherby." Wait, you said it right, and
we must really be meant for each other.
yeah,
Oh,
that
because this movie does another trope that we've brought up before, where the main Weatherby, he fantasizes about Helena, wants to be with her, and the fantasy scene has that romantic music, the
yeah,
da-da-da-da.
yeah, it does. That's right. I
I'm
forgot
like,
about
oh
that.
my God. I'm at the point where that has become like funny again though, because I can't believe when movies do it.
Yeah, it's so stupid, but
Yes.
I that just like took the movie to like a whole other different like level of parody. It's like
Yeah.
okay, like I don't even know. Like I think this is satire, but I'm not sure.
I'm
But
I'm still not sure.
uh, but there's a lot. I mean, we could go here all day about like the ridiculous plot points, but there's so many of those like really just goofy moments that they go for in this movie. And I actually, for my money, I mean, there are some like plots that are completely forgettable. Like you said, the acting is not great at all, and there are some boring characters in here that don't affect the plot at all. But for my money, I was pretty entertained. You know, um, it was enough to keep me interested the whole time. It's very, very silly in my mind. So, I mean, for a video game movie, you could do a lot worse. So, I, I, I would give this I would give it a light recommend for me.
What? If I had water, I'd be spitting it out right now. You're recommending this? No, I'm just kidding.
I
No,
probably would. Yeah,
no,
it's silly.
no, this movie would be good for like a good like hangout night. Like this would be a fun movie to watch with some people and laugh about. It because I was thinking that while watching this, it's a bad movie. It has a lot of bad elements, and I understand if you wouldn't like it, but it's fun. Like this movie is just like it's a good time. Like I don't know, it's actually kind of funny. The action could be decent at times.
There are
And
some decent action. Yeah.
yeah, and like I'd say overall, I was entertained the whole time. And for a movie like this, that's really all I can ask for. So I do not consider this one of the worst video game movies. But it's weird
No,
because I would understand if you didn't like it.
I
Um,
can understand because, like I said, on my initial reaction to this movie, I remember not loving it, but then
mhm,
like actually sitting down, and maybe it's just because we watched so much other stuff. I was just like, you
I
know what,
agree.
like this is on
We
the scale of things, we could do a lot worse.
Yeah, I think at this point, like if a movie's, I've seen so many movies for this podcast that have just legitimately just been boring. And like it's just nice, like, this movie actually just was an entertaining movie. I can appreciate that. So yeah, light recommend. Why not? I agree with you.
As long as you know going into it, and I do want to make the point since you brought it up, I should. There is like an actually really good fight scene I did like, which
Hmm.
is the scene between Christy and Helena, where they're like
Yeah,
in the
and the
water
water.
fight, and it's raining outside, and it's a very oddly cinematic fight scene.
No, yeah, I thought that was really good. I thought the one with Tina and Zach in like the square, the city square was
Yeah,
pretty good. There's even like small bits like the part where just like Helena's fighting and she's like up on the ropes and she does like this weird kick move. I don't there's some good stuff here. I mean it's the directors worked on a ton of like martial arts stuff, so that makes sense.
yeah, no, it's definitely it's no slouch in other ones. You like in some of them, it's just you can't even tell half the time what's going on, or it's
Hmm.
not very. they at least make it like over the top fighting because it's kind of imitating the video game a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, good times overall. I enjoyed it. So I think that's going to do it though for this one. So Nathan, what are we going to be talking about next time? All right.
All right. On Tuesday, Ryan, and this one's going to be a surprise for you. We're talking about The Stepfather, and that one's going to be streaming over on Tubi.
Say I'll watch it with my stepdad.
Awesome. Yeah, that should be a good bonding moment. All right, Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, I want some more chicks that fight. So we're going to be talking about the 2020 movie Chick Fight.
Chick fight. Why that's ringing a bell? Hold on.
Because you have that on your watch list too, and I saw it, and I was like, let's talk about it.
Oh, this yeah. Let's talk.
So that one is also for free on Tubi, and it's on Prime as well. So it should be a great time, But if you have any thoughts, opinions about the podcast, please email us over at driveanddoubleFeature@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us at X at DIDFPod. And once again, check out the Patreon over at patreon.com/driveanddoubleFeature podcast. But until next time.
Until next time.